Now, our concluding conversation on the program this morning is with the FCT in focus as it concerns grassroots development. Now, their campaigns and aspirations being made public ahead of the FCT 2026 council elections. This morning, joining us virtually is the coordinator, Coalition of Patriotic Democrats, FCT chapter, and a former aspirant of the Abuja Municipal Council area, AMAC. I'm talking about Comrade Abdulwahab Ekekhidel. Good morning to you, Comrade, and welcome to the program.
Good morning, my brother. How are you? Good morning, Nigerians.
Well, Comrade, let's get your opinions on the build-up to the 2026 FCT Council elections. Much like yourself, a former aspirant, what do you believe should be the focus of aspirants going into the 2026 campaigns?
Well, going into the 2026 election campaigns for the FCT area council elections, everybody that wants to be the chairman of any of the area council, like I was contesting to be the chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council. And politics is about negotiations, it's about networking, and when party leaders begin to talk to you to say, look, let us see reasons for us to promote the party, and then let's align ourselves with somebody. And that was why I had to step down due to party leaders talking to me to say, no, you have the capacity, but let's step down. So I had to step down for the Quebec chairman, Honorable Christopher Zakame Kalangu, who is the chairman of Abuja Municipal Area Council, because he's actually already doing a good job. As an aspirant, or you want to be chairman, you have to look at the AMAC. You just want a better, we want a better AMAC, a better area councils for our people, a council that will deliver the dividends of the democracy to the people. In fact, a council that will be inclusive, that will not leave anybody behind. If you look my campaign slogan there was inclusive governance agenda, leaving no one behind. And that's exactly what the current chairman is doing. He's not leaving anybody behind. You have to think about the people. There's no water, there are no roads, there are no electricity. Healthcare is in shambles. As you know right now, the FCT primary schools are on strike. Our schools have been under lock and key for a long time, and it's not good for our democracy. It's not good for our democracy.
Now we'll come to the issues affecting the area council shortly, but let's talk about a strong point you raised on the part of negotiation and how you had to step down for Honorable Zakame Kalangu. Now, in his case, he's also taken a political move by defecting, and has also recently led over 20,000 supporters previously under the umbrella of the People's Democratic Party PDP, now to the APC. And it's a move many have viewed as a realignment with the Renewed Hope agenda. Do you think that this plays a major role in election success?
Like I tell you, election is not just about going to the polls. Election is about strategy. Election is about reaching out to the people. Election is about selling yourself and your programs to the people. And once the people accept you, you know that, of course, you will have a way. The reason why Mekalu left PDP is very clear, because you are aware of the crisis in the PDP, where they are talking about national secretary or no national secretary. And these are the people who are to sign the names of whoever becomes candidate to the national, to INEC. And if anybody takes you to court to say it's not the right person that took you to court, of course, you are no longer a candidate. So these are the issues. So the guy came, he's already doing well. And so he came to join us. And I tell you, with the people he has brought, joining with us, this election will be very easy for us to win. I tell you, because of course, if you go around the area councils, you see a lot of his blueprints on the ground, some of the things he has done. And I think that he's a good man, and I think we all need to support him to continue.
Now, his defection has also been applauded by the Senate President, Senator Godswill Akpabio, saying that it's a strong indication of more victories to come for the APC, not just in AMAC, but across the FCT, not just for the council elections, but with projections going into 2027. Do you see an alignment in that regard as well?
Of course, there is. There's going to be an alignment. You see, the FCT is a very different entity when it comes to elections. You have so many enlightened people who are here. You know, the FCT is Nigeria. It's Nigeria. So you have a lot of people here that are resided here. And that is why sometimes when you see during elections, you hardly can persuade people, maybe because you are in government, to say, oh, you must vote for president or vote. No, it doesn't work that way. It is what is on the ground that will make people know that they need to vote for you because they are enlightened people. But I must tell you, the whole agenda of Mr. President is really taking shape. You know, it's not easy when you want to start reforms. Reforms are in the early stages of any reforms, they're about to be hardship. And I think that's what we are going through. And if you check the history of all nations, you will realize that when reforms are ongoing, there are hardship. And but if we persevere and be patient, and we will see that the result will begin to come in. It's not something that will come like magic. It's not something that will just happen in a day. You know, it takes some time for reforms to begin to yield dividends. And I must commend Mr. President because he has done a lot and he's still doing a lot. And I know that moving forward, these things will begin to yield a positive result, and Nigerians will begin to see reasons why they should support Mr. President to continue in 2027.
Now, some of the reasons to support Mr. President, if I'm to take from the statement made to Honorable Zaka Mekalangu's SSA of Media and Public Affairs, Honorable Madaki, he said, taking into question the issue of federal appointments based on political affiliation is part of the reason for Honorable Mekalangu's defection. Do you think that this job loss, in his words, in terms of affiliations and federal appointments, is a key reason for some aspirants to choose which parties they want to show allegiance to or loyalty to very keenly?
And one thing I want you to know is that politics is all about benefits. Nobody joins politics just for the sake of it. If you are joining a party, you want to derive some benefits. And if you are in a party and there are no longer benefits, then there is no point being there. The people must benefit from a government. And you know, that is why the FCT people are very grateful to Mr. President. Because for the first time in the history of democracy in this country, an indigenous person has been appointed a federal minister. You are aware that the Minister of Special Duties and Intergovernmental Affairs is a native of the FCT, Right Honorable Zephaniah Bitrus Gisalo, MFR. Is a native. And you see, so these are the dividends. When you see a government that is trying to benefit your people, I don't think you have any reason why you will not align with that party or that government to be able to make sure that more of your people are also appointed, because that is the only way where the dividends of democracy can truly trickle down to your people at the grassroots. And I think that this is the right step some of these politicians have seen, and they are aligning with the APC and Mr. President renewed hope agenda, because really there's truly hope at the end of the tunnel.
Now, Comrade, whilst there are benefits for the political elites who choose whether to carry the broom or the umbrella, some of the benefits is in terms of delivering the dividends of democracy to the electorate. I know that Mekalangu has also dubbed his campaign as one that comes to solve the problems of AMAC. You had listed earlier the strike by teachers in the schools, in the councils, in the FCT as one of the problems. Let's look at these problems one after the other, because I heard the FCT minister talk about the issue of strike. He says it seems as though a bulk of the work has been dropped at his table, that most area council chairmen also have to play a role in resolving the striking issue of teachers. What do you think of this statement, and how can it be actualized?
No, but you know that constitutionally the responsibility of primary school lies within the area councils. So it's their mandate to take care of the primary schools within their own jurisdiction. But you also know that the challenge is that government is a continuum, and when past government have incurred debts for you, because government is a continuum, nobody say, oh, because it's not you will carry the body, both the liabilities and everything you carry. So the challenge is that this government, in fact, Mekalagu has tried to pay even the minimum wage and pay them what he can pay, but they are talking about paying arrears, and these arrears run into billions of naira. So these are the challenges, and currently what they are receiving as allocation, if they use that to want to pay, it will not go be enough, and that is why they have reached out to the minister of the FCT to say, please, you are our father, kindly assist us to see how we can solve this problem, because they are actually concerned and worried about the fact that children at home, they are not going to school, they also have children, they have sisters, they have brothers. Not all the chairmen, their children are in private schools. There are even some, their brothers and relatives are also in this private school, so everybody is affected. So they are equally worried. So they are trying to find a way to see, and the minister is being magnanimous in his approach, is magnanimous enough to say, okay, whatever is due to you, 10% of the internally generated revenue from the FCT, we'll calculate it and give those the 10% that belongs to it so that they can also use it. And that might not even be enough to clear the arrears. It might pay some, but it might not pay all. But and I want to use this medium to appeal to our teachers, our striking teachers, to know that our children are at the receiving end of all this, even their own children. They should pay seriously, because no government can once write off this debt. They will pay. They will continue to pay it instrumentally, just as the minister of FCT has explained. They will be paying every month. There's a certain amount they will need to pay to be able to clear this area in a timeline, in a time that will be specified.
And Comrade Abdulwahab, it's also on the part of government in its planning. Now, whilst the FCT minister was also thanking Mr. President that the FCT has been removed from the Treasury Single Accounts TSA, concerns are on budgetary planning. Because in his budget defense, he said that he intends to use 80% of that budget for capital projects. Yes, it will bring about development, it will bring about completion of abandoned projects, but this leaves merely a 20% for recurrent expenditure, under which salaries and remunerations, pay packages of teachers and other workers fall under. Do you think that going forward, owing to this backlog, there needs to be an adjustment in the budget planning of the FCT to prioritize education?
As you know, budget is a projection. If you know that budget is a projection, sometimes you make budget and sometimes you don't even fulfill the budget, because your expectation of the income that should come might not come. And that is why you see the vigorous effort of the FCT minister to reclaim ground rent that people have owed for years, 20, 30 years, because they want to be able to get money to fund the budget. And sometimes if you are not able to raise this fund, that is why we have even supplementary budget, and that is why we can have environment. So if the need arises that even the capital project, the 80%, if need arises and it becomes an emergency and something that must be done, I know that in his wisdom, the minister of FCT will go deeper into that capital and remove some money to solve critical issues, especially the ones that concerns education. I must be frank with you, no nation can develop with its citizens not educated, and this is the foundation of education. Primary school, without primary school you cannot even be a chairman, you can't be a councillor, you cannot even be a president, you can't be a minister. So that is the foundation. So we expect, and I know that the FCT minister, Barrister Yuson Wike, is also a man that is passionate about education, and the Mr. President is also a man that is passionate about education. And I can tell you for a fact that the chairman of our area councils, starting from the Kalagu even to the Abaji man, Abdullahi, Abubakar Umar, they are all concerned. We have had meetings with them, we have sat down with them. They are concerned. It's just that the resources are not available. Like I said, no one government can write up there. These are there that have been over years. The backlog has been there. They have run into billions, and it is not easy for an area council to clear it up once. They will continue to pay Once this money, 10% of internally generated revenue from FCT is released to them, I know that a chunk part of this arrears will be paid, and so that is why even you, the media people, should join hands with us to appeal to the striking teachers to please go back to classes, because at the end of the day, it's our children that are suffering.
Now, away from health, talking about more problems affecting the area councils is a challenge with healthcare coverage. I don't know, in your honest opinion, how do you assess primary healthcare coverage across the FCT's 6 area councils?
Honestly, to be frank with you, the primary health care centers are not adequate. They are not adequate, and most at times they lack the professionals. Most times you go there, you hardly can find doctor in some of these primary health care centers, because it is because of the kind of environment, and most of the doctors who don't want to even live around such environment, and they don't want to work there because of the working conditions, and most of the time they lack equipment. Honestly, there are cases, so sometimes it's just like a dispensary. Just go there, get your normal drugs, paracetamol and the rest, and then maybe the ones that want to give birth who have no option. Everybody, even the ones in the rural area who have an option to go to a better hospital, will not go to a primary health care center. So I want to appeal to all the area councils to see reasons why they should upgrade all our primary health care centers. As it is today, they are not really serving the purpose, and they are not enough. They are inadequate, and they are not well equipped, and the staffs are also not well motivated. They need to be motivated. They need to equip the primary health care centers, and these are some of the priorities we are telling them to put in place, so that the people will be happy and people will derive the benefit. Because benefits of democracy does not mean you need to start sharing money for people. No, let people have access to basic amenities that will better their lives, and that is what we are preaching. Good governance entails that when you have access to the basic facilities and amenities that government should provide socially, that you have access to them, whether you are a person with disability, whether you are elderly, whether you are poor, whether you are rich, you should have equal access to government facilities. And that is why we are talking about inclusive governance, where no one will be left behind. And I think that is what Honorable Christopher Zakame is trying. He has adopted. He wants to carry everybody along, and in all this infrastructure, they are going to be put in place.
Now, the other angle to the conversation, apart from infrastructure, is also motivation for healthcare workers. Quite recently, resident doctors in the FCT also went on a warning strike in that regard. I don't know if you have any solutions to prefer as to how we can reduce the number of hours lost to strikes, particularly even in a sector as critical as healthcare in the FCT area councils.
What I will say is that governments at all levels must be more responsive to critical sectors of our society. Health is not something you joke with, and that is the reason why we are having brain drain. A lot of our doctors are leaving the country, and most of our rich men and politicians are also jetting out of the country to seek for medical care. And that is because attention is not being paid to a critical sector like the health sector. If staffs are not well motivated, of course, everybody wants to go for greener pastures. And so that is why you are seeing lackadaisical attitude, even on the part of nurses and doctors, because they know that what you are giving them cannot take them home. So they involve themselves in other businesses, so they hardly even have time for the main job that they are being employed for. Some of them are selling they are selling clothes, some are doing different business. So when they are in the office, they call them, come and they leave the office because they are not well motivated. I want to encourage government that look, we must pay attention. You see, if there is any profession that could be paid so well, it is teachers. That's medical personnel. You see, our military. They are people that you shouldn't joke with. Pay them handsomely and pay them as at when due, and give them other incentives, because salary is not just what you need. There are other things, allowances. Those days they used to have overtime. I've been told that is no longer available. when you work, because you are supposed to work from 8 to 4 p.m. After 4 p.m., everything you do is now overtime. Time pass, they used to pay them. When you do that, they pay you overtime allowances. But these days, they even use you to work till 10 p.m. and nobody gives you a dime. You know, so you overstretch the workers, yet there are no better remuneration, there are no allowances. I think we must look at our remuneration packages again. Even the minimum wage, even with the current economic situation we have in this country, the minimum wage can truly not take you home. Honestly, that is the fact. Based on, but government must bring that policy that will deliberately bring down the cost of living in this country. If the cost of living does not come down, then the minimum wage, no matter how you jack it up, will not be able to meet the needs of the people.
Now, Comrade
Thank you,
Abdulwahab, let's talk about the Abuja Master City Plan and how it relates to infrastructure development across the 6 area councils. Yes, indeed, there's been transformative infrastructural development on the 2 years of the FCT minister in office, but would you say that the councillors currently in the 6 area councils have been able to key into this agenda in other infrastructural developments that their communities and council areas need in line with this renewed hope mandate?
Like governments are in organs, and the FCT minister, to be frank with you, you can't fault him. It's in the areas of infrastructural development of the FCT. And this infrastructural development is not just restricted to the city center. I tell you, in all the area councils, as we speak today, there are major roads infrastructure that the FCT minister have done. Even this 2 years anniversary, there are so many of them that will be commissioned. The FCT minister, we must give him kudos. He has really tried and he's still trying. He has, he even gives the opportunity to the area council. Choose for me which of the critical infrastructure you want us to come into. Not that he just sit and choose. He doesn't know them. It is the area council chairman and their cabinet that sit down to say this is our priority area, especially as it relates to road. As you know, road infrastructure is one thing that leads to development, because when there are roads, there are good roads, people, even the farmers, they will have access, they will have easy access of bringing in their farm produce to the market. So road infrastructure is important, and I tell you, the area councils, because sometimes I will employ some of our media men to go around these area councils one after the other to check. So, okay, Mr. Chairman, what are the projects you have? Let's go on a project or assessment or visit, so that you'll be able to appreciate that within the resources available to them, some of them are actually doing what they need to do for their people, especially in AMAC. I don't want to talk for other area council because I'm based here in AMAC. I know when you go there, you see a lot of projects that Honorable Christopher Azaka Mekalagu has done that affects the people, and they are still doing. But you cannot finish everything. There's no way any government, even if you stay for 8 years, will be able to solve all the challenges of the people in 8 years. That is why government is a continuum. When you finish your own, the next man that come or woman should continue from where you stop, so that this development will continue to go up, and they should be doing quality projects. Not that you finish a project, after your tenure the project is gone, I have to start again, another chairman that come will still go back to that project. No, they should be doing quality projects. And that is why I'm happy with the Honorable Minister. If you apply the Nyanya Karo, Kurudu, and Kerishi Road, you will understand what I'm talking. It's not a nylon tie. You drive on it as if you are just in a highway. It's a beautiful road that he has constructed there. And that not convenience anybody. They were doing it mid 10 p.m. That's when they start work. They put on floodlight and they go on with the work. So in the morning you wake up, you discover that there is road. So these are the magic the FC minister is doing and is still doing. So I tell you that critical infrastructures in the area councils are also being affected by this by the FCT minister, and the area councils are also doing their bit.
Now, Comrade Abdulwahab, the FCT area councils are looked at as the closest example of how local government should run in Nigeria. Well, despite this analysis or comparison, issues on pipe-borne water supply continue to remain a huge headache across the 6 area councils. Why do you think this is so?
Well, the issue of pipe-borne water was part of my agenda as an aspirant to AMAC, because I know it has become a huge challenge, because but it is even beyond the capacity of the area council chairman to link this water. That is purely an FCT, because you have the FCT above. It is purely an FCT issue. FCT should be able to connect from the dam, Lower Osman Dam, to all the area councils, where they can tap from and begin to now link themselves up to villages. I tell you, even in AMAC that is the center. Some areas do not have pipe-borne water as I speak with you. Most of the area, even in the area council, we are having boreholes. Even in the secretariat, they have a borehole. So it's not even that before we talk about the interiors. So I think that there should be collaboration, and that is why when I was campaigning, I said I would want to run a collaborative government where you partner with relevant MDAs, partner with the FCT, and partner in this area. Even the Ministry of Water Resources, we partner with them to see how we can join even international organization. Government should not always wait and rely on federal allocation, because that could hardly do everything. So there is need for government to be open and be able to reach out, spread your hands out to seek for other kinds of intervention, both locally and internationally. And we can even start with our own. That was my plan. I will send that plan to Honorable Christopher Zakame Kalagu. That issue, even the illustrious sons and daughters who are doing well, who are well placed, should also come and contribute to community development. Because I tell you, governance is about working together. It's not working in isolation. Working together, bringing everybody on board, and let's look at how we will do things that will affect our people positively. I tell you, while we are having issues of cholera, all those malaria, some of these things are related to the fact that there are no good, pure drinking water within the city and within the FCT. And that is a major challenge. And if you want a healthy citizen, then there must be clean water for them to drink. Because whatever you consume is what affects you. It's what can either make you pale and heavy or bring you down to sickness. So and that is why, you see, typhoid fever is everywhere. We have to make sure, whatever it takes, let us collaborate with the relevant agencies to make sure that pipe-borne water is taken across the 6 area councils so that our people can have access to clean drinking water.
Now, let's talk about the area of transportation. Whilst listening to the FCT minister, he talked about the need for private-public partnership to solve this issue, with emphasis on intercity buses in the FCT. How do you view the challenges of transportation across the 6 area councils?
I think the suggestion of the minister is good, but what I would prefer, the issue, what can truly solve the problem of transportation in FCT is for us to have a light rail across the 6 area council, connecting the 6 area council to the city center. If we have light rail connecting the 6 area council, you can live in Gwagwalada and work in the city center. You can live in Abaja and work in the city center and still close and go back. If they see these things are happening across the world. You can live anywhere and you work afar, but in 1 hour you are already at your working place because of the light train. I think that's where we should focus our emphasis on, not these buses, all those who will lead to more congestion on our roads. You see the Maraba Nyanya has this always Nyanya Kepi Express. Always there are traffic jams, accidents, because the number of vehicles flying the road are too much. Now, when you begin to now introduce more buses, you begin to even burden the road so much. And in this part of the world, we don't create room for, even in our construction, we don't create room for even those who would like to ride bicycle, for riders. Because in other clients, there are people, if you go to China, most of their work, but they drive on bicycles to their offices, so that you reduce less carbon emission, you reduce congestion on our roads. So let us, the light rail will be the solution that will solve the issue of transportation in the FCT across the 6 area councils.
Now, some of the transporters had earlier raised grievances on some law enforcement and excess taxations on the road. We saw the court intervene last year where there was a restriction on a certain enforcement agencies in clamping down. But another challenge to that is an increased number of touts who have also been clamping down on motorists. How do you judge these transport hurdles that affect transporters in particularly and the access of the majority of public to public transportation through those alternative routes?
Well, the issue of touts on our roads disturbing commuters on the road or road users has become a major challenge. While I was in AMAC, I served with the immediate past chairman. While I was there, I know a lot of issues we have to tackle. People will call you. Sometimes you're even using a private vehicle, Sienna for instance, because yeah, it's a private, but they will catch you. They'll say you must pay this, you go and buy ticket. The car you are using for a private. So some of these things is becoming an embarrassment, honestly. Even right now, they try to improve by wearing uniform, but that's not enough. They are still the people. These are people. I think that we should change this idea of physical collection of taxes. It's not good. That is what we are trying to introduce. If I was to be the chairman, to introduce what we call in a seamless pay method of taxes. Using the technology, no longer physical. People must not go and be on the road to begin to stop cars or whatever. No, but once in a while we can have enforcement based on those who will be defaulters, but not that kind of way. We make it. I had an issue. No, I don't want to expose things. That's what I will discuss with chairman, so that we can introduce modern methods of collecting these taxes, and it will be more effective than sending people on the road. First, you can endanger their life because some drivers might not want to stop and they might just hit you, and so a lot of dangers are involved. So while preserving the lives of the people and making our roads more safer and free to drive, we will collect our taxes, because we know most of these people, they have unions. There are unions of the road worker, even the e-driving, the Bolt and the Uber, they have unions that we can relate with and get these taxes as at when we need them through their leadership in a seamless manner, not really even having to come to our office. On your phone, you can do that, and you pay and you get a receipt, so that we reduce this too much of people on the road. Because if you go through Utakosa, you just see people, when you just slow down in the traffic, you just see people just pop up from different angles. And that is not correct, and that is something, and this is the federal capital territory. We must eliminate that. That is not good enough for our image. It is not good enough for our road. It is not good enough for even those who are people that are being used to do that. It is not good enough. We are civilized people, and we are enlightened people, and I think that we need to stop some of these approaches we are using to a more civil approaches to collective tax with our people.
Now let's look at the role of the 6 area councils in strengthening security, particularly from the angle of vandalism. With the clampdown on some partaker markets, I don't know if there can be a strategic roadmap onto how to synergize this in terms of the operations of partaker markets and how they've been related to the widespread of vandalism on public infrastructure and assets.
Well, that has become a challenge over the years. The issues of partakers, the issues of this Ebola, as they are popularly called, and they have graduated from just picking irons or picking metals on the street to even banditry. They have graduated to even real stealing. You see the manholes on our roads, the way they are being removed. They don't want to see anything called iron. They remove them. And I think that drastic measures need to be taken. The activities should be banned, and banned not for 2 weeks, or banned completely, until they are able to organize themselves in a manner that they are recognized. We know them, and they should be stopped from moving from people from houses to seek for all these things. Rather, we rather make the people be the ones who will, if you have this kind of police, gather them, bring them to a particular spot where you will be paid for it. And so we must devise modern methods of collection of metals or iron rods or whatever to a designated place where if you as the owner brings them, you are paid. So there will be no need for all these partakers, all these mebolas to be going around and causing mayhem across our communities. And I think that the actions of the FCT minister so far so good, but we need to do more, because these people have become a menace in our society. You can no longer, you can't, even in your community, you cannot live freely. You will see them as early as 4 a.m. they're already in your area, as early as 5 a.m. they're already, and when you challenge them, it becomes a fight. Before you know, somebody is dead. So this we must let them know that we are in a civilized society, and people need to conform with the laws of the land, and we must enforce. When they refuse to conform, that is why we have law enforcement. They must be apprehended. And that will also lead me to the issue of
Comrade Abdulwahab, in this apprehension, I don't know if you follow the difference in view between the FCT minister by Senyeso Wike and Senator Aline Dume. During the FCT's budget defense, Senator Dume looked to be kicking against the issue of apprehending some of these people. He also talked about the need to cite an IDP camp in the FCT, to which the minister kicked against. So when you just said you need to apprehend them, it brought back to mind that debate between the FCT minister and Senator Aline Dume. I don't know if you care to clear up your call on apprehension, which to some persons much in the camp of Senator Aline Dume do not like the idea.
Sorry, you were breaking. I didn't get most of what you said. You were breaking.
My question was, when you mentioned apprehension as one of the ways of clamping down on these individuals, I don't know if you recall the debate between the FCT minister and Senator Aline Dume during the FCT budget defense on the approach in terms of clamping down on these individuals. Do you share sentiments with Senator Aline Dume or the FCT minister in that regard?
Let me not. Why? You see, we are all Nigerians, and we know what is right and we know what is wrong. You see, the activities of these people have become, it's no longer required in this our country. They have caused a lot of sorrows in a lot of families, and I think that, like I said, drastic measures should be taken against them. It doesn't matter what anybody says. What is wrong is wrong. And if everything is wrong, the law must take its course. So why do we bend the rules when it comes to some people and want to apply the rules when it comes to some people? Our rules must not favor anybody, must be applied accordingly. So I tell you sincerely, we need to apprehend these people. Those who are doing things that are against the law of the land must be apprehended, irrespective of where they come from. We are all Nigerians. Nobody is more Nigerian than the other. We are all Nigerians. So the law must apply to all of us. And so I want to be on the part of the law to say that anybody that has gone against the law must be dealt with in line with the law.
Now, in keeping with the issue of drug-related offenses and a thriving drug cartel within the 6 area councils, many say that it almost seems as though there are some area councils that are notorious for drug trading even in broad daylight, and very little is being done. How do you suggest that the chairman under these councils areas liaise with drug enforcement agencies to curb this menace?
That is why I talked about collaboration. You see, government cannot work in isolation. There are different agencies that have been saddled with responsibility of different aspects of our sectors, of our society. The NDLEA, and you can see the results since General Buba Marwa took over. There have been tremendous improvement of their activities and the kind of recoveries they have made. And I will expect and I will encourage area council chairmen to directly work in collaboration with NDLEA. I must tell you, in the area of security, while we were in AMAC, our chairman then, Honorable Abdulwahab Ekekhidel, set up what we call AMAC martial guards. They were a youth, a security outfit composed by the youth just to reduce unemployment. Now things like that can be replicated in all the area council, and they could be informants. Send them out to be informants of the security agents. When they see things maybe drop, because it is those who live in communities that really knows those who are criminals within the communities. Make them informants, let them report incidences and issues of crime and criminality within their various communities that could aid the security agencies to do their job. Aid NDLEA, because most of these places where they smoke all this weed or whatever, they are interior within the communities. They are there. People know the owners, people know who those who come there, and that is so. Information is key for us to fight insecurity, for us to fight crime, for us to change the attitude of our youth from social vices. So we must engage people who reside in the community, who have been trained to an extent to be able to know how to even gather information and how to also relate them. I think we need to do a lot. Our security agencies are trying, but of course, they are not enough. The manpower is not there enough. So people like this, like the AMAC martial guards, can be introduced across the 6 area council, selected from each of the wards and communities, and made them to be informal, or what you call them, those who will police the communities and feedback the security agencies, so that these things will be nipped in the bud. Thank you.
Now, lastly, as we look to draw the conversation to a close, our focus is on environmental issues, starting with waste disposal in the 6 area councils. Our FCT correspondent in recent time filed in a report about an area council in particular where residents were complaining that their environment has now been turned into a dump site, and they've had to deal with a lot of health-related issues from having waste indiscriminately disposed in that particular area of the council. What are some of the approaches which aspirants can inculcate in their agendas going into the elections on how to address these environmental issues?
You see, first of all, the issues of environment is very wide. The environment is very wide. But what people fail to realize is that, even God that created us, there is this popular thing that says cleanliness is next to godliness. But but most of our people, they are clean when they come out, but they are not clean. People, if you don't clean your environment, then you are not clean. It is an assignment from God for you to keep the environment clean. Make it clean and green. I was a program manager of the Clean and Green Cities Foundation. I was a program manager of Environmental Awareness Initiative. So I have been in the environment sector, and I know what it means to keep our environment clean. But unfortunately, I don't think we have done enough in terms of sensitization. Our people lack the basic information to know the dangers of indiscriminate waste disposal. And even the authorities, of course, also have taken their own responsibility to be able to adequately evacuate the waste that have been so even dumped at the designated places. Sometimes you find a designated place where waste are to be done. They'll be there for 2 weeks and months, and yet and so the place gets clean and even sprinkle into the road. You can, and let me tell you, environmental sanitation and environmental waste management especially is capital intensive. Very, very, very capital intensive. But we have to be innovative to be able to turn our waste to wealth. When you make people and give incentives for people to bring some kind, just like I said during for the mental, our plastic non-biodegradable waste could be so much collected. If we have recycling plants across the area councils, you will know that we'll be able to reduce the menace of plastic waste that are supposed to be recycled, so that people will pick them. When you pick a certain kg of it, you get a certain amount. It will become a job for people just to be able to gather this and bring them up. Let us begin to encourage private individuals, companies to set up recycling plants. It is capital intensive and it is a profitable business that people can do and make money. Even the degradable waste can be turned into manure. for our farmers. So nothing is truly waste. According to the way they say waste is a product not in use. Every waste is not waste because they can still be used for other things. So let us begin to imbibe the issue of recycling. In this country, we have not paid so much attention. The only place they pay attention to waste management is Lagos State. If you go there, you see a lot of work that has been done in the areas of recycling, both non-biodegradable and biodegradable waste. And I think that we need to go more into recycling so that we can clear our streets of all this menace of indiscriminate dumping, and then there should also be punishment for those who dump indiscriminately. It means that we should have environmental guards across, people who monitor the various dump sites and areas where people just come and dump waste indiscriminately. Indiscriminate waste disposal is a big menace in our society, and it shouldn't be allowed to continue.
Well, Comrade Abdulwahab, we thank you for itemizing some of these challenges affecting area councils within the FCT and the need for aspirants going into the next election circle to also have part of their campaigns in line with resolving these problems. We thank you for joining us to share your thoughts and opinions this morning, and we wish you the best of the rest of today.
Thank you very much.
Have a nice day, sir.